The sky was dark, and heavy rain hit the roof as Nkechi stood in the living room, clutching her mother's gold necklace. Her father, Raymond, glared at her from across the room. His voice was sharp and loud. "Give me that necklace," he shouted. "We need to sell it. This family is in trouble." Nkechi didn't move. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. "It's all I have left of her. I can't give it to you." Her stepmother, Gloria, sat on the sofa with her arms crossed. She gave Nkechi a cold look. "You're being selfish. That necklace could help all of us. But no, you only care about yourself." "I've helped this family in every way I could," Nkechi replied. "I worked in your store. I gave up school. I stayed quiet. But I won't give you this. It belonged to my mother." Her brother, Chuka, stood up from the dining table. "Come on, Nkechi. It's just a piece of jewelry. Why are you making such a big deal?" "She gave it to me before she died," Nkechi said, her voice breaking. She said, "Never let anyone take this from you, no matter what. I'm keeping that promise." Raymond stepped forward. His voice got louder. "Your mother is gone. We need money. Either you help this family or leave. I'm not the one who ruined everything," Nkechi said quietly. "You were supposed to protect us, but you let her treat me like dirt." Gloria stood up now. "If you can't do something small for your own family, then maybe you don't belong here." Chuka picked up her small bag and threw it outside. "There's the door. Go be proud somewhere else." Nkechi looked at each of them. No one said anything. No one tried to stop her. She walked to the door slowly, opened it, and stepped into the rain. It was cold and heavy, but she didn't care. Her clothes were soaked within seconds, but her hand never left the necklace under her shirt. As she walked down the empty street, her voice was barely a whisper. "One day, this will all make sense. One day, you'll remember this moment." She didn't look back. Nkechi was 22 years old. She had lived with her father, stepmother, and half-brother for 10 years. Her real mother died when she was 12, and her whole world changed after that. Her father, Raymond, remarried 1 year later. From that day, everything in the house felt different. It stopped feeling like home. Gloria, her stepmother, acted kind in public. She smiled at neighbors and acted like she cared. But when no one was watching, she made Nkechi feel small. She gave her all the chores, made her cook and clean, and never said thank you. Meanwhile, her son Chuka, 1 year older than Nkechi, never lifted a finger. He sat around, acting like a prince. He laughed when Gloria insulted Nkechi. He treated her like she didn't belong. Raymond, their father, had changed too. Before, he used to laugh with Nkechi, help her with school, and talk about her mother. But after he married Gloria, he became quiet and cold. He didn't protect Nkechi. When she told him about how she was treated, he called her ungrateful. Over time, she stopped telling him anything. Nkechi learned to keep her head down. She did everything she was told and tried not to cry. She held on to one thing, her mother's necklace. It was a gold chain with a small heart-shaped pendant. Her mother gave it to her the night before she passed away. She said, "Keep this close and remember who you are." That necklace became her only comfort. When life got too hard, Nkechi would hold the necklace in her hand and close her eyes. It reminded her of love. It reminded her that someone once cared about her deeply. Nkechi's days were long. She woke up early to sweep the house, cook breakfast, and prepare things for Gloria's store. After that, she would work in the store all day. She barely had time for herself. She liked reading and was good at math. She used to dream of becoming an accountant, but those dreams were crushed when Gloria said, "We don't have money for school." Her father didn't argue. He just looked away. Now, at 22, Nkechi had no degree, no money, and no freedom. She had nothing of her own, except the necklace. Things got worse when Gloria's store started losing customers. Bills were unpaid, and everyone in the house grew more stressed. Raymond became angrier. He yelled more often. He blamed Nkechi for things that weren't her fault. Then, one day, he said they needed to sell anything valuable. He pointed at the necklace. To him, it was just gold. To her, it was everything. They had other things they could sell. An old TV, some furniture, even Chuka's expensive phone. But they didn't touch any of that. They came straight for the one thing that mattered most to her. That moment broke something inside Nkechi. She had given and given, and now they wanted the last piece of her mother she had left. She refused, and they threw her out. In the rain, with just her bag and the necklace under her shirt, Nkechi walked away from the only home she had ever known. But instead of falling apart, she felt something shift inside her. She felt stronger. She had no place to go, no job, and no money. But she had her necklace, and she had her will. Nkechi had no close friends. Most people saw her as quiet. They didn't know her story. She had learned not to trust easily. Too many people had smiled to her face and hurt her behind her back. She stayed in shelters, did odd jobs, and slowly started saving money. She worked in a small shop, then cleaned houses, then joined a training program for jewelry making. She remembered how much the necklace meant to her, and she wanted to help others fix or restore what they loved. She learned fast. People noticed her skill. Years passed. Nkechi changed. She became calm, steady, and more confident. But deep inside, the pain stayed. She never forgot the look on her father's face, the silence from her brother, the cruel words from Gloria. She lived in Atlanta now. She had her own small apartment and worked in a jewelry store. She was saving to open her own business. The necklace never left her neck. It was still her reminder of who she really was. One day, she received a letter from Chuka. It was short, no apology, just a few lines. Dad is sick. We're in trouble. We need you. Nkechi stared at the letter for a long time. She didn't know how to feel. After everything they had done, why were they calling her now? She put the letter away, but her heart stayed heavy. Something inside her whispered, "Go, just once." She didn't go for them. She went for herself. She needed answers. She needed to see if she had truly moved on, or if she was still that broken girl in the rain. It had been 5 years since Nkechi left home. 5 years since she walked away in the rain, alone and broken. In that time, she had built a quiet life in Atlanta. She worked in a small jewelry store, saved money, and learned everything she could about rare gems and antique pieces. People liked her work. They trusted her. She had earned a good name. But even with this new life, her heart was not fully healed. One afternoon, she was sitting by her window, drinking tea, when a letter came. It was simple, a plain envelope, no return address. Inside was a short note. The handwriting was shaky, but familiar. "Nkechi, I know I have no right to ask you for anything, but Dad is very sick. The family is falling apart. We're in serious trouble. Please come. We need you. Chuka." She stared at the letter for a long time. Her hands trembled. Her chest felt tight. She hadn't seen or heard from any of them in 5 years, not even once. And now they needed her. She thought about throwing the letter away, but she didn't. She placed it on the table and sat in silence. The next day, her best friend Tamara noticed she was quiet. "You okay?" Tamara asked gently. Nkechi nodded slowly. "I got a letter from my brother." Tamara's eyes widened. "What does he want?" "He says my father is sick. They need help." Tamara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "You don't owe them anything." "I know," Nkechi whispered, "but maybe I need to see it for myself. Maybe I need to close this chapter." 2 weeks later, Nkechi flew to Nigeria. Her heart was heavy, but her mind was clear. She wasn't going as a helpless girl. She was going as a woman who had survived. The house looked smaller than she remembered. Older, weaker, like the people inside it. Gloria was gone, left a year ago, without a word. Raymond sat on the porch, thin and tired. He barely recognized Nkechi at first. "You came," he said, voice cracking. "I didn't come for you," she replied. "I came for myself." Inside, the house was quiet. Chuka explained everything. After Gloria left, the shop failed completely. Their father had a mild stroke. Medical bills piled up. Then Chuka made a bad investment. He put the family's last money into a fake crypto scheme. Now they were being sued. The court had frozen all their assets. The only thing left untouched was a piece of land outside town. Their mother's land. "That land is in your name," Chuka said. "You're the only one who can stop them from taking it." Nkechi's mouth dropped slightly. "Wait, what?" "Dad transferred it to you before you left. Said it was safer that way. We didn't tell you because we thought you'd never come back." Her mind raced. That land was the last thing their mother left behind. A peaceful place with trees and flowers. They used to go there every Sunday. It was special. Now it was in danger. "If we don't pay a part of the debt," Chuka continued, "the court will take the land next month." Nkechi looked at him. "How much?" Chuka swallowed hard. "Almost 4 million naira." She almost laughed. "You think I have that kind of money?" "No," Chuka said. "But maybe something else could help." He looked at her necklace. Her eyes went cold. "Don't." Chuka raised his hands. "I'm just saying, it could buy us time." She stepped back. "So this is why you called me?" "No, I mean, yes, but also because I'm sorry." Nkechi stared at him. "If you were sorry, you would have told me the truth, but you waited until you needed something. She walked out of the room, heart pounding. Later that night, she sat alone on the land, the same place where her mother used to sing to her. The air smelled like mango trees. Birds chirped in the distance. She closed her eyes and remembered her mother's voice. "This place, it's still pure," she whispered. "They can't take this too." Suddenly, an idea came to her. She wasn't sure it would work, but it was worth trying. She needed to know exactly how much the necklace was worth, not just its gold, but the full value. The next morning, she took the necklace to an old jewelry appraiser in town. He examined it carefully, turning it over and checking the tiny marking. "This is not just a necklace," he said slowly. "It's a rare vintage piece, from a limited series made over 50 years ago. Very few exist now." He looked up. "It could be worth enough to cover part of your debt, but you'd have to sell it quickly." Nkechi felt like the floor was shaking. All these years, she wore it for love, for memory. She never thought of it as money. Now, the one thing she refused to give up could actually save what was left of her family. She walked out of the shop, the necklace still in her hand. So now, she faced a choice. Give up the necklace and possibly save her mother's land, the one peaceful thing left from her childhood, or keep it and let the land be taken forever. Either way, something had to change. She knew, deep down, that nothing would ever be the same after. Nkechi stayed in the old house for a few more days. Everything felt strange. Her room had been turned into a storeroom. The kitchen was dirty. The walls had cracks. It felt like a house full of ghosts. Raymond mostly stayed in his chair, coughing and sleeping. He barely spoke. Chuka tried to act nice, but it was clear he was nervous. He kept asking if she had made a decision about the necklace. Nkechi didn't answer. She needed time to think. She went to visit the land. It was still there, beautiful and quiet. The trees were taller now. Grass covered the paths they used to walk. She sat under the same tree where her mother used to braid her hair and tell her stories. As she touched the ground, she felt tears in her eyes. This land was her mother's dream. It was meant to be passed down, meant to stay in the family. She couldn't let it go. But the necklace, it was the last gift her mother ever gave her. How could she give it up? Back at the house, things grew worse. One evening, she overheard Chuka talking on the phone. He was in the backyard, but his voice was loud. "No, she doesn't know yet, but I think she'll give it soon. She's emotional. I'll get it out of her." Nkechi stepped back quietly. Her stomach turned. So that was it. Chuka had not changed. He didn't care about her or the land. He just wanted to fix his own mistake. Later that night, she asked him, "Who were you talking to?" Chuka paused, then smiled. "Just a friend." "A friend helping with the land case?" He looked away. "Yeah, something like that." She knew he was lying. That night, she couldn't sleep. She kept hearing her mother's voice in her head. "Protect your heart." She held the necklace tightly. The next morning, things exploded. She woke up to loud voices. Raymond was shouting. Chuka was yelling back. "You promised!" Raymond barked. "You said the crypto deal was safe." "I didn't know it was fake," Chuka shouted. "How was I supposed to know?" "You used the family name without asking." "I did it for us." Nkechi stepped into the room. Both men went silent. "You used the family name for a scam?" she asked. Raymond sat down and put his face in his hands. Chuka opened his mouth but said nothing. "So all of this is because of that," she whispered. "You risked everything, and now you want me to give up the only thing I have left." Chuka looked angry now. "You think you're better than us because you ran off to America? You think wearing one piece of jewelry makes you a queen?" "No," she said calmly. "I think protecting what matters makes me strong." He shook his head. "Fine. Don't help. Let the land go. Let Dad die in this broken house." She stepped closer. "Don't you dare use him against me." Raymond lifted his head. His eyes were red. "I made mistakes," he said quietly. "But I didn't ask to lose my wife. I didn't ask to become this." Nkechi felt a mix of anger and sadness. "You didn't protect me when I needed you. You let them treat me like a maid. You let them throw me out." Raymond didn't answer. Later that day, Nkechi walked to the town market. She needed space to think. As she walked, she saw old neighbors. Some smiled, some whispered. "She came back," one woman said, "after all they did to her." At a small food stall, an older woman gave her a plate of rice. "You don't have to pay," she said. "Your mother once helped my family. It's the least I can do." Nkechi sat and ate slowly, her eyes filled with tears. Her mother's kindness still lived in this place. Even after all these years, back at the house, Chuka was waiting. His face was cold. "I know you went to the appraiser," he said. "So?" I called him. I asked about the price. It's more than enough. You had no right, she said sharply. I had every right. We are family. You act like you're the only one who suffered. I was thrown out, she said. I slept in shelters. I ate from trash cans. You don't get to talk about pain. He said nothing. She walked past him and went to her old room. She opened a small box she had brought with her. Inside were pictures, her mother, her younger self, and one letter she had written years ago, but never sent. She read the letter. It said, "Dear Dad, I miss you. I wish you could see how they treat me. I'm still your daughter. Please come back to me. Love, Nkechi." She cried reading it. Now, everything was broken. The people she once trusted had betrayed her again. The one person who truly loved her was gone. But the land was still there. The necklace was still hers. She made a choice that night, a quiet choice. She would not lose everything, not again. But she would do it on her own terms, not because they tricked her, not because they begged, because her mother's legacy deserved to live, even if it cost her the last piece of gold she had left. The court date had arrived. The small courtroom was quiet, but tense. Nkechi sat alone on the wooden bench near the front. She wore a plain dress. Her hands were shaking slightly, but her face was calm. Around her, people whispered. Some remembered her from years ago. Some just stared. Chuka was sitting behind her with a lawyer. He didn't look at her. Raymond had stayed home. He was too weak to travel. The judge, a serious-looking woman with glasses, walked in and sat at the bench. This is the case of Raymond Nwosu and family versus the state and credit union, the clerk said. The judge nodded. Let's begin. The lawyer for the credit union stood up. Your Honor, the family has failed to pay back the amount owed after their investment collapsed. We are requesting the court to take legal ownership of the remaining land to recover part of the debt. Nkechi listened closely. Her heart beat faster. She looked down at the necklace resting quietly around her neck. The judge looked at Chuka's lawyer. Do you have any last arguments? He stood slowly. Your Honor, the land in question is no longer under Mr. Raymond Nwosu's name. It belongs to Ms. Nkechi Nwosu. She has returned from abroad, and she may have something to say. The judge looked directly at Nkechi. Ms. Nwosu, do you wish to speak? Nkechi stood up. The room became even quieter. She took a deep breath. Yes, Your Honor. I didn't come back to clean up this mess. I didn't come back because I was asked. I came back because my mother left something behind, something pure. That land is more than property. It is a part of her. It is a memory. The judge nodded slowly. But memory cannot pay debt, Ms. Nwosu. I know, Nkechi replied. She reached into her small handbag and pulled out a black velvet pouch. She opened it gently. Inside was the gold necklace, the one she had worn every day for 10 years. Gasps echoed around the courtroom. She walked forward, stopping in front of the judge's bench. This necklace was given to me by my mother the night before she died. It is the only thing I've kept close since the day I was thrown out. I lost everything, except this. Her voice cracked, but she continued. I had it appraised. It's rare, vintage, and worth more than enough to pause the court's seizure. I'm offering it, not because they deserve it, but because the land does. The judge leaned forward. You're offering this as collateral? Yes, fully. A long pause followed. The judge looked at her closely. You do understand, Ms. Nwosu, that once this is registered as collateral, you may not get it back. Nkechi nodded slowly. I understand. Chuka looked stunned. His eyes widened. He leaned forward. Wait, what are you doing? That necklace is everything to you. She turned to him. Her eyes were sharp. Yes, and so was that land to her. You risked it for quick money. I'm saving it with real value. The judge signaled to the clerk. We will pause this case and re-evaluate based on the new offer. As the court stood in recess, Nkechi walked outside. Chuka followed her. Why didn't you tell me? You didn't earn my trust, she said simply. I didn't think you'd actually give it up, he said, staring at the necklace pouch. You tried to trick me, she said. You lied. You were going to use me. But I'm not doing this for you. Chuka's eyes watered. I didn't know what else to do. I messed everything up. Nkechi looked at him carefully. You did. But now I've fixed one part. Just one. He nodded slowly. You're stronger than all of us. I had to be, she said. The next day, the court approved the collateral. The land was safe, for now. They still had to repay part of the loan, but they had time. Nkechi visited her father before leaving town. He was lying in bed, pale and tired. When he saw her, his eyes filled with tears. You did it, he whispered. Yes, she said. The land is safe. He tried to sit up. I was wrong. About everything. She sat beside him. I needed to hear that. I failed you, he said. I let her treat you badly. I let it happen. I know, she said quietly, but I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to say goodbye. He held her hand weakly. I don't deserve you. She gave a small smile. Maybe not, but you're still my father. As she stood to leave, he said, your mother would be proud. Nkechi paused. She looked back at him. I hope so. She walked out of the house one last time. The sun was bright. The air was still. She no longer felt heavy. She had faced her past, and for the first time, she felt free. She had given up her most precious item, but she had gained something greater: peace, truth, and her own power. Nkechi didn't return to the old house again. After the court saved the land, she stayed a few more days in town, but she knew her time there was ending. Something in her heart told her she had done what she came to do. She visited the land one last time. The sun was rising, and the sky was painted with soft colors: orange, pink, and gold. She walked slowly, touching the trees, the grass, and the soil. She remembered her mother's voice, soft and full of love. This land is your future, Nkechi, her mother once said. Even when I'm gone, this will always be here for you. Now it was safe again, not because of the people who tried to take everything from her, but because she had the courage to return and protect it. The necklace was gone, but the memory was not. In her heart, she still felt her mother's love. That love had never left her. Nkechi packed her small suitcase and went to say goodbye to Tamara's aunt, who had let her stay during the trip. She gave her a small bracelet as a thank you gift. You made me feel safe, she said. The woman smiled and hugged her tightly. At the airport, she looked back one last time. Nigeria was still her home, but not the broken part, the part that lived in the land, in the kindness of strangers, and in the memories of her mother. She flew back to Atlanta with quiet strength. Back in her apartment, things felt different. The city looked the same, but she had changed. The pain she had carried for years felt lighter. Her heart was not heavy anymore. She returned to work, and her boss welcomed her with a warm smile. Good to have you back, Nkechi. Good to be back, she said, and meant it. A few weeks later, she got a letter in the mail. It was from Chuka. I don't know if you'll read this, the letter began, but I wanted to say thank you. You did what none of us could. You saved something we didn't deserve to keep. I'm trying to change. I've started therapy. I'm also helping Dad take better care of himself. Maybe one day we'll be close again. But even if not, I want you to know I'm proud of you. She folded the letter and placed it in her drawer. It was not an apology for everything, but it was a start. And for now, that was enough. Nkechi started saving again. She still loved jewelry. She still wanted to open her own store. But now, the dream felt real. She worked hard, designed new pieces, and even joined a local art market. People started noticing her designs. They said her jewelry had heart and meaning. One customer told her, "When I wear your necklace, I feel strong." That made Nkechi smile. Months passed. One day, a young girl walked into the shop. She was quiet and shy, holding a broken chain in her hand. "My mum's necklace broke," she said. "Can you fix it?" Nkechi took the necklace gently. It reminded her of her own. "Of course," she said softly. "We can always fix what matters." She cleaned it, repaired the chain, and polished it until it shined like new. When she gave it back, the girl's eyes lit up. "It looks just like before." "No," Nkechi said with a warm smile. "It looks stronger now." That night, she sat by her window, looking at the stars. She thought about the past, the pain, the rain, the cold nights, and the lonely days. But she also thought about her strength, her courage, and how far she had come. She had once been a girl begging to be loved. Now, she was a woman who loved herself. She didn't need to go back to the past. She had faced it, survived it, and turned it into something beautiful. Justice hadn't come in the way people imagine, with punishment or revenge, but it came in her peace, in her power, and in her freedom. She was no longer waiting for others to say sorry. She had given herself what they couldn't: respect, love, and a second chance. Nkechi's store opened 6 months later. It was small, with white walls and gold shelves. Above the door was a wooden sign: Nkechi Gold, strength through scars. People came from all over to see her work. Some just wanted jewelry. Some wanted to tell their stories. Some just wanted to feel seen. And Nkechi listened to them all, because she knew what it meant to feel invisible. Now, she had found her place, and nothing could take that away. One quiet evening, Nkechi sat alone in her shop. The lights were dim, and soft music played in the background. The last customer had just left, and she was closing up for the night. She walked over to her work table and sat down. In front of her was an old photo of her mother. She picked it up and smiled gently. "I did it, Mama," she whispered. "I kept your promise. I didn't let them take it." She looked around the shop. Every piece of jewelry she made carried a part of her journey. Some had tiny scars, just like her, but each one was beautiful in its own way. She opened her notebook and wrote a small note, just a few words. "To every girl who's ever been thrown away, you are not broken, you are becoming." She tore the paper carefully and placed it inside a small glass jar on her shelf. It would stay there, a quiet message for anyone who needed it. As she turned off the lights, she walked to the door and paused. The street was calm, the night was cool, and for the first time in years, her heart felt light. She touched the spot on her chest where the necklace used to hang. It wasn't there anymore, but somehow, she didn't feel empty. She felt whole.